Thank you. I'll ask our clerk to make copies of the verdict to provide to the attorneys. I've read the verdict, I've reviewed it, I'm satisfied that both questions are answered, and there are 2 dissenting jurors on each question. There are the same 2 dissenting jurors on each question. Court will read the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows. Question 1. At the time the crime was committed, did the defendant have a mental disease or defect? Answer is yes by 10, 2 no. If you've answered question 1 yes, then answer this question, question 2. As a result of the mental disease or defect, did the defendant lack substantial capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of the conduct or to conform that conduct to the requirements of law? Answer yes, 10 in the square, 10 for yes, 2 in the square for no, 2. I note that the answer, or the word yes, is circled in answer to each of the questions. I'm satisfied that the answer is yes to each of those questions. There are 2 dissenting jurors to each of the questions. They are the same jurors. I'm satisfied the verdict is consistent and proper. At this time, I'm going to have the jury polled. This will be just polling the 12 who decided the case.
Juror 8420, was this then and is this now your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 4161, was this then and is this now your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 5723, was this then and is this now your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 852, was this then and is this now your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 6590, was this then and is this now your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 9694, was this then and is this now?
We follow the provisions of and the rules of the sheriff in being returned to your location to be released and to go home. It goes without saying that this has been a long week. You've done tremendous service at being part of the jury. I consider it to be an honor to be on a jury, and this has been a very honorable effort on the jury's part. So I want to thank each of you for that. I'm happy to meet with members of the jury after I've completed some other work in the courthouse. However, usually that happens at a different hour. So I'm happy to meet with members of the jury singly or as a group at some time in the future. You can call my office to make those arrangements. When I have these meetings, I don't talk about the case. I talk about the legal system and the jury process and how it operates. For you to know how the case progresses, you can call my clerk to follow up on what's happened with the case. And otherwise, you may be able to read about it in the papers as well. Again, this has been an interesting case, a long case. You've been away from your homes for a long period of time. I understand all of the issues you've had to the extent that I can, but I haven't been away from my home for this period of time and in a hotel without contact with people or papers and books and so forth. So thank you very much. I appreciate everything you've done. Have a great rest of summer, a great fall, and a great life. To our alternates, thank you for being so diligent and really so much on point with everything, too. We appreciate that totally. Have a great evening, then.
All right.
Actually, I have one more. Let me read one more instruction to you. You can be seated while I do this. Your service in this case is completed. Many jurors ask if they are allowed to discuss the case with others after receipt of the verdict. Because your role in this case is over, you are not prohibited from discussing this case with anyone. However, you should know that you do not have to discuss the case with anyone or answer any questions about it from anyone. This includes the parties, the lawyers, the media, or anyone else. If you do decide to discuss the case with anyone, you should then I would suggest you treat any discussion with a degree of solemnity such that whatever you do say, you would be willing to say in the presence of your fellow jurors or under oath here in open court in the presence of the parties. It is in the public interest that there be the utmost freedom of debate in the jury room and the jurors be permitted to express their views without fear of incurring the anger of any litigants or the criticism of any person. Please respect the privacy of the views of your fellow jurors. With that, keep in mind that we've gone to lengths to maintain your safety and your security and your privacy. That's with the jury questionnaires are confidential. They will not be disclosed. The use of numbers to create what's called an anonymous jury was to respect your privacy and to be able to preserve that. So keep that in mind as you go about your daily lives as well. Have a good evening. Thank you. All right, thank you. Please be seated. Mrs. Nguyen, your motion is?
For judgment on the verdict, sir.
All right, thank you. Any motions from the state?
No.
Court will grant the judgment on the verdict so ordered. Based upon that, I will find that Anissa Weier was found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect to the crimes charged: attempted second-degree intentional homicide, party to the crime with the use of a dangerous weapon. Satisfied that one of the crimes is a felony that occurred after July 30, 2002, with a maximum penalty with enhancers of 35 years. Court has previously advised Ms. Weier of the provisions with regard to possession of a firearm and possession of body armor. With that, I will order that she be committed to the Department of Health Services. I will order further that there be I'm going to order a predisposition investigation. Will order that predisposition investigation report be furnished to the court no later than October 2. I'll set a hearing with regard to the receipt of that report and to determine a disposition at such time as that report's received, and then we'll schedule a hearing. My intent is to set a review hearing within 10 days of filing of the examiner's report pursuant to statute. Court will sign the necessary orders.
Your Honor, until the dispositional hearing, will she remain at the West Bend facility?
I'll order that she remain at the West Bend facility, subject to review by the Department of Health Services, and the court will follow any recommendations they make for a transfer of residence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And if she is remaining in the West Bend facility until the dispositional hearing, will the court allow her to maintain the visits that she's been having and the time she's been having at
Yes.
the Waukesha Juvenile
Yes,
Detention Center? Thank
yes,
you.
so ordered.
Thank you.
With that, anything further from any of the parties?
No.
Anything further from Ms. Weier's attorneys?
Did the court wish to set a date for the review hearing?
No, I said I'd
With
set
the
it after I
disposition?
receive.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. After I receive the predisposition report.
Thank you, sir.
All right, but we'll be in contact and work out the best date. I'll order that Ms. Weier then be returned to her residence in West Bend pending further proceedings. So ordered.
Thank you,
Court
sir.
is in recess.